Hey guys, Caesar here. Today I want to talk with you for a few minutes about a really cheery topic, death. Now wait, don't click off just yet, okay? Stay with me. I think you'll be glad that you did. Recently I was at a funeral. A friend of mine's mother had passed away, and there were hundreds of people who came to say their goodbyes and be with the family. The ceremony went on for hours, and this woman had lived a life that had powerfully touched, like so many people, generations of people. And yet, enough tears were shed to fill a bathtub that day. And they weren't tears of joy. People were super sad and mourning. That's how it is when someone we love dies, right? We've all been there. It feels like a part of us dies too. And as I watched the proceedings going on, I was once again struck with the thought that the reason this all is so painful, and no matter what's said, it doesn't really help much, is because death makes no sense. I mean it. Death makes no sense to us as human beings. Sure, we've seen plenty of it. We understand it technically, and someday all of us will die. But still, death makes no sense to us, and we can't quite rationalize our feelings for it. Even when we believe that our loved ones had faith in God and we'll see them one day in eternity, this death thing sucks. And I think this is because we, as humans, created in the image of an eternal, forever God, we're also created to live forever. That's true. That's what the Bible teaches, that we were created to live forever in a perfect relationship with God and rule and reign over His creation and be with Him in perfection. So when that's what you're built for, then you still want to live forever, and death makes no sense. But there's hope. And as powerful as death has been in the history of the human race, hope is even more powerful if the object of our hope is bigger and more powerful than death itself. As a Christian, I believe the Bible teaches that all rebellion against God and His ways is called sin. There it is, ugly word, but it's okay. And every person that's ever lived in one way or another, or in a million ways, has tried to live as if they were actually God, and live as if the real God were just sort of there on the sidelines waiting to help out in a pinch. Well, that's called sin. Acting like we're God and trying to create a life apart from Him, where I pretty much rule over everything, is what separated me and all of us from God, the source of life in the first place. That's why people die, because of sin. It's not God's original plan. Remember, I said God created us to live and be with Him forever. But when we ourselves choose to walk away from that plan, choose to live as gods over ourselves, then I'm separated from His life source. And the wages, if you will, for that is death. And it sucks. Now back to this hope thing. But what if God Himself, in one grand gesture, fixed this sin and death problem? What if He took the result for everyone's sin, which is death, upon Himself? What if God, in the flesh, that's who Jesus is, stepped in and died in our place? And what if He then proved that death was ultimately defeated by coming back to life? That'd be amazing, right? Well, it happened. And that's what Jesus did. He Himself dealt with our sin and death problem once and for all by exchanging His perfect and non-rebellious life in place of our own. And God, His Father and ours, accepted this. And then at that point, Jesus pronounced, "It is finished." Now, we can live with the hope that even as I still try and pretend like I'm God and rule my own life, that God accepts me and I'm forgiven and I stand with Jesus. Relationally, things are now restored back to the way God created them to be. We can live here and now in a close relationship with God with no shame. And even though these earthly bodies do pass away, our souls and our spirits do not. The real you and me once again lives forever. And that gives me hope. Not just the hope that I'll see my mom and dad again someday, but hope for this life and the afterlife, that I can once again live in the ways that God created me to be, and with Him. So if for you, like me, death makes no sense, the next best time to put your hope in the life that Jesus died to give you is now. Hey, if you want to leave me any thoughts or questions or comments below, I'd love to interact with you on this. Thanks for watching.